In this series, Crafting a Career in the Arts, The Art of Why, you will hear from Edmonton-based artists from a wide range of disciplines. These artists will share with you why they create, how they use their art form to maintain their mental health, help with a disability, or as a way to connect with their community. We will also feature some of Edmonton's locations and organizations that support the arts in our city. In this episode, emerging wire sculptor Laura discusses her quickly rising career as an artist and teacher in Edmonton. Then you will hear from the Edmonton Valley Zoo about their role as a source of inspiration for local artists.
Here is a 1-inch chicken wire, and this I tend to use for what is deemed to be the armature, which is the inside of the critters, the creatures. And then I tend to cover it in a 1/2-inch chicken wire. And when you look, I'm Laura Ouimet, and I am an Edmonton and area wire artist, and I work primarily out of my South Edmonton workshop. I was born in Nova Scotia, and my mom's family were in Manitoba, so soon thereafter, that's where we moved to. And when I was about 4, we moved to the prairies here in rural Alberta between Leduc and Wetaskiwin. And then I came to Edmonton and I met my husband shortly thereafter, and this is where we had our family. And we often went back to my grandmother's place, and she lived on this beautiful acreage just north of Winnipeg. And she always said that amongst the gaggle of children, she had 13, and you throw in all of the grandkids, and it could be quite chaotic. And if I was missing, chances are she would find me in a corner with sticks and yarn or pens and pencils, and I was always creating something. So that has just carried over throughout my life. I've been working with wire just shy of 7 years, and it started off just with some bonsai, some tree of life type projects, and has just evolved over time. And now I primarily work in chicken wire, and it's something that really, it just feeds my soul. I still like to do other artsy things, but the wire is something that I'm very passionate about, and I've built my business around that. You know, it found me by accident. I had been laid off from my grown-up job, and I kind of had some time on my hands to play around. And my husband happened to be purging at the time, and there was a bonsai pattern that had kind of bubbled to the surface over the years and just kind of got tucked away as a someday project. And I just latched onto it, and I thought, okay, this is something that I'm going to finally try. There were no wire counts, there were no lengths, and I just kind of ran with it. And it was a total flop. It looked absolutely nothing like the pictures that I was trying to work by, but I framed it, and I have it to this day. Actually, it hangs above my fireplace, and it's a really good reminder for me of where I started out with this. And it just set my feet on that journey. People asked me, you know, do you sell these? Can you make me one? And it started off with family and friends initially, and then it just really resonated with people, and so it just kind of took off from there. I find my inspiration pretty much everywhere, and that really just seems like a blanket response, but it's true. It's true. I focus primarily on nature. Wire doesn't lend itself to non-organic forms, and not that it can't be done, but animals are my favorite. I'm daunted by the human form. It's something that I've dabbled in, something that I've played around with, but I'm not totally comfortable with it, and that is something that I want to do going forward. But I literally, I look around and I depend on my phone. I see something, it's just like, okay, make a note for this, and it's something that, maybe you'll try down the road, or But then again, there's a lot of amazing wire artists out there. My teacher, my mentor, Sheena McCorkadale, and she's actually a Canadian chicken wire artist, and she has taken me under her wing and showed me kind of the tricks of the trade and has encouraged me all the way through. So I'm very fortunate to have her helping me through, or guiding me through, encouraging me through this new journey that I'm on. So yeah, there's a lot of inspiration out there. There's inspiration everywhere. Make art for myself first and foremost, unless of course there is a commission. And most people that commission a piece of art, it's because something they've seen that I've done has stirred something emotionally for them. And when they come to me and they say, Laura, this is what I'm thinking, more often than not, it's a memorial piece. And so then often those customers will provide me with something personal to use in the art. A lot of artists have parts and processes of their art that they're not particularly fond of, and for me, it's definitely cutting the wire. And I'm actually really quite fortunate and very grateful that my husband doesn't mind helping me with that. I really find that my art, it's calming when I'm anxious. But it's also, if I'm having a moment or having a day, I know that it's a constant. I know I can go out to my workshop and I know where my tools are and I know where my wire is and I have my list of projects. If whatever I'm working on at the moment isn't going to do it for me, it can be very cathartic to put all that aside and pull out something new and fresh and move through whatever is going on at that particular time. So it really is, to repeat myself, it's cathartic. It's very soothing for me. Well, I think my art has helped me as a healing moment, especially as a child. My dad was absent a lot, and there was some real bad energy. There was some conflict in the household. And, going back to what I said about my grandmother finding me, tucked away in a corner, making stuff, and it very much was a safe place for me. And, and I still find when I'm anxious or if something's going on, I can tend to work through my emotions, through my processes, through my art. So it's still a very therapeutic process for me to be able to go out to my shop or go into my studio and make art. I think my art needs to be touched. It's tactile. And people shy away from that. And justifiably, there is a lot of art that probably shouldn't be handled. But this stuff is, it's tactile. It really, really should be touched. So I encourage that. I think my biggest accomplishment to date, I would have to say, being contracted to do the sculptures for the U of A Botanic Gardens for their luminescence. And that just came out of the blue. I got an email and I checked my email kind of on the fly and I saw that it was there and I honestly thought I was being spammed or something. I almost deleted it. So I'm really glad that I did go in and really have a look at it, because it ended up being just this amazing experience, and amazing for me personally as an artist, but also it was just so amazing to work with the staff there as well. And as a result of that, I was nominated for the Eldon and Ann Foote Award, and I am very honored. I made it to the top 6 finalists, and I was really amongst some amazing Alberta artists. So that's really saying something. I think my favorite aspect of making these sculptures is that they're all different. I'm not fixated on them being real to life, but definitely being their own individual selves. I think my favorite pieces thus far are the unexpected ones. So for instance, the pieces that I did for the U of A Botanic Garden, literally I had 3 weeks to do 6 pieces. And I had amazing staff there that helped me with that. And, but they came together so beautifully. It was because it was a team effort. But there are those pieces that I have a couple that will be revealed. I have a solo show coming up at the Jean and Peter Lougheed Center in Camrose, and it's a whale, and I struggled with it. It was because it's just such a large project. And because I was struggling with it, I wasn't feeling like I was imbuing it with all of the positive feelings that I tried to put into every piece. So I had to set it aside. I had to put it aside, and I had to walk away and come back and revisit it. And I did. I had to revisit it a couple of times. But it is probably the one piece that I am to date most proud of. It's, if I do say so myself, it's really quite stunning, and I can't wait to share it with the world. Oh, what do I enjoy creating when I'm not doing wire work? It's actually really quite funny because I did have a Instagram follower who said, oh, it's got to be a real artist that makes art when they're not making art. But I think that's what we do as creative people, right? So over the years, I've done watercolor and toll painting and stained glass, some quilting, a little bit of scrapbooking, jewelry making, oh my, you know, and, right? So I'm willing to try just about anything. So all the bins in my basement tell the story. Hands down, my favorite aspect of teaching the classes is when the students have those aha moments. But when they reach that point in the project and they hold it away from themselves and they look at it and they just have that smile on their face, right there, that's the best moment possible. And I am part of a collective called Hand to Hand, and there's 7 of us, and it's a juried market. So we volunteer time, we're a not-for-profit, and we get together twice a year and we pour over all our applications and are now presenting a bursary to one of these applicants. I don't have a dream project. I really don't. I'm open to whatever the universe chooses to toss my direction. However, with talking with my husband about this, he has been bugging me for 2 years, ever since I started doing this stuff, to do a life-size T-Rex. You can look at a piece of art and you can think it is absolutely ugly. It's one of the most terrible things that you've seen. And that is invoking an emotion within you. And as soon as an emotion is evoked like that, as soon as you have a reaction to something, then it's affected you. It's triggered thought process, it's triggered emotion. And the opposite is as true as well. You can look at something and absolutely love it and feel blown away because it's beautiful, or it's different, or it's striking, or whatever it is that you feel. But art affects all of us, whether we, you really put it into thought or you put it into words. I think the advice I would give to a new artist or an emerging artist or somebody that is just kind of feeling their way through things is, this is kind of cliche, but be kind to yourself. And my experience with that is, especially with the wire, although many of those other crafts and art forms that I had tried, you see examples and you want to do that, right? First time you try it, you want to do that, you want to be able to achieve that. And a lot of people, I think, just throw away what they consider their failures. And I also had done that for a lot of years. But that's where my thought process changed with the wire, because I do have a bin, and I am quite surprised when I am looking for a little bit of inspiration to go into said bin and sort through the stuff that I have in there. And I'm just like, dang girl, this is really good. How could you have thought that this was terrible, right? And so I have been pleasantly surprised. And so I would just say, don't throw anything away. Set it aside, walk away, come back in a day, a week, a year, 5 years, and pull it out and have a look again. And you'd probably be very, very pleasantly surprised as you know, just how hard you have been on yourself. 100 years from now, what would somebody think about my work? Well, I would hope that they would look at it and say she had fun and wasn't afraid to experiment. And because that's what it's all about, right? You have to enjoy what you're doing, especially where art is concerned. And yeah, and just be willing to have fun with it and play around, and just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take risks and switch things up. And so yeah, I hope it would be that I have fun doing it, because I really do. I really do.
Next, please join Tanya from the City of Edmonton as she discusses the programs offered for artists and artistic events at the Edmonton Valley Zoo.
My name is Tanya Franke, and I was born and raised in Edmonton. I work for the City of Edmonton in community services. My job title is the Management Supervisor of Arts, Nature and History Experiences, which means I have the honor of being in charge of the animation of the Edmonton Valley Zoo, Art Conservatory, John Jansen Nature Centre, John Walter Museum, and the City Arts Centre. The vision of the Edmonton Valley Zoo is to create an engaging place that inspires the protection and conservation of animals and the world that we live in. The intention of the Edmonton Valley Zoo is to inspire and engage visitors to not only appreciate the animals in our collection, but also animals in Alberta, in Edmonton, and actually around the world, and do what they can to appreciate the natural world and how we can preserve it for future generations. So I think the importance of the zoo is its location in the river valley, because we're surrounded by the natural world and by the parkland that is a unique ecosystem in Western Canada, quite frankly. And so by being situated here and bringing people in, up to 400,000 people a year come to the zoo, and they have the opportunity to engage with our animals, to get up close with our animals, to understand the importance of them in conservation, and making sure that we keep all of our spaces as natural and our habitats as natural as possible, and bring that passion back to do things in their own community, in their own backyard, and then also influence conservation and preservation of the natural world around the world. We offer a number of different opportunities for people to visit the zoo and engage. So through our school programs, which through field trips, through our birthday party programs, we have rental programs where exclusive groups can come in and just use certain spaces at the zoo or use the entire zoo for their private events. We offer camps. And then in addition to that, we also offer a number of special events. Often many of the events have an arts lens or an arts focus to them as well, and opportunities for children to create, and parents and adults to create art pieces that are inspired by the natural world around them. We also offer a number of pre-registered programs for both children and adults in partnership with the City Arts Centre, where you actually learn some of the key pieces of photography and visual arts, being inspired by the animals and the natural world that we try to create here at the Edmonton Valley Zoo. And then we also have other special programs that our facility partner, the Valley Zoo Development Society, put on with their art classes, which they take once a month, and there's a portion of that registration then goes towards supporting conservation and donations back to the Development Society. We offer many programs and events at the Edmonton Valley Zoo with some art focuses. So one of the premier winter light shows that is hosted at the Edmonton Valley Zoo is our Zoominescence event. And each year we put a call out to artists to submit art installations that are lit up and have a sustainability theme, and then they are showcased during the entire festival season, which takes place in December and early January. Last year we hosted the Nature Connects art exhibit, which was actually an international art exhibit, the first time in Western Canada, which was Lego sculptures of animals. It was created by American artist Sean Kenny, so we were really blessed to have that here. So the camp program is something that we offer annually in our summer camps suite of camps, and it's an opportunity for kids to put their creative and their artistic side to work while exploring the natural world and have the opportunity to marry both their maybe love of nature and love of animals with their love of art and bringing those all together. And so the age group focus for that is from 4 to 6 years old. Live at the Zoo is actually sponsored by the Valley Zoo Development Society, and they do it in partnership with both the Paint Spot and with ARC, who is a youth fundraiser group that is part of the Valley Zoo Development Society's fundraising suite of committees. And the intention of that program is every month people can register and learn either through drawing or through painting, visual arts, and be inspired by the natural world here to create art pieces. It's focused for adults, and a portion of the registration then goes back to the Valley Zoo Development Society to support conservation efforts that they do in partnership with the Edmonton Valley Zoo. So we have a number of popular animals. We actually house about 95 species at the Edmonton Valley Zoo and over 250 individual animals as well. The more popular animals are the red pandas. They're so endearing. They're highly endangered, and we have been very successful with our breeding program here to be able to reintroduce them and maintain the population worldwide. We also have Grevy zebras, who there are fewer than 3,000 of those left in the wild, and we had a very successful breeding program with them as well. We have antlered tigers, we have northern fur seals, which are also very popular, Canadian lynx, Arctic wolves, lots of different reptile species. We're also part of a northern leopard frog breeding program in partnership with the Calgary Zoo and Vancouver Aquarium, where we actually are reintroducing tadpoles back into the natural habitats for the populations to be sustained in the wild. So it's a great place to come. We have nocturnal wings as well that feature bats and sloths. So there's all sorts of animal species here, many of them with a focus on northern climates and cold tolerant animals, so you can see them year round. The Edmonton Valley Zoo, our tagline is "Get Closer," which means we pride ourselves in giving the opportunity for all of our visitors, artists, children, to be able to get up and close to our animals, be inspired by their beauty, be inspired by their natural evolution and their adaptations, and be able to use those to inspire them to create different pieces of art in both all sorts of mediums, whether it's 2D mediums, 3D mediums, sound, all the visual arts. I believe artwork created by people inspired by animals definitely brings a positive impact to our community. It brings long-term Edmontonians, tourism visitors, artists, and newcomers to our area to be inspired by animals that look familiar to them from their own homes. So we offer a number of animal talks on a daily basis for both groups that have pre-booked for a special tour or for those just dropping in to enjoy the Edmonton Valley Zoo. And through those talks and those connections, people have the opportunity to be inspired about the world that the animals live in, some of the natural flora and fauna in their environments and in their habitats, and then using that to inspire themselves to be creative and apply their artistry as they're inspired through those talks and that engagement. So for people coming to the zoo looking for inspiration, for me it's appreciating not just the animals and some of their unique architecture or the conservation messaging we share, but just that opportunity to relax and decompress and be there with friends and family and enjoy that and be able to to just be inspired and let it be natural, not to be forced, and to relax and enjoy your day here. It's like a little bit of a mini vacation. And when you are here, we do have art installations throughout the site as well, not just around animals or around talks on conservation, but there's little pockets of commissioned art that people can also come and appreciate and be inspired. And the artists that created those pieces were inspired by the river valley setting that we sit in, as well as the animals in the natural world that they get exposed to through the Edmonton Valley Zoo.